Story. I booked my own flight, packed my suitcase carefully, and tucked the heirloom veil into its special box before I left home. My son, Daniel, was getting married, and though I had been waiting for this moment with a mix of excitement and nervousness, I told myself to keep everything simple. I didn't want to be a burden. I paid for my own ticket, carried the family gifts with me, and held on to the thought that this was a celebration of love, my son's love, his new life beginning. The plane ride itself was quiet. I looked out the window at the wide stretch of clouds, my hands resting on the box in my lap. The veil had belonged to my grandmother, passed down from one bride to another. Cream-colored lace, delicate but strong, stitched by hand so many years ago. It had been worn by my mother, then by me, and I had always pictured handing it over at Daniel's wedding. I wanted his bride to feel connected to something larger, something deeper than just a ceremony. When I landed, the airport felt like a blur of voices and footsteps. I carried my bag slowly, my heart beating faster than it needed to. I was here, I was present, my son's wedding week had begun. Daniel met me at the curb. His arms went around me, and for a moment, I felt the little boy I once carried come back. His voice was cheerful, hurried, filled with all the weight of schedules and rehearsals. "Mom, I'm so glad you're here," he said, but almost immediately he was checking his watch, his phone buzzing in his hand. I didn't mind. Weddings bring a certain rush of energy. I followed him into the car, holding the veil box on my lap as if it were fragile glass. At his house, everything was buzzing, decorations half done, family members walking in and out, voices filling every corner. I was greeted kindly enough, but quickly people moved on to their tasks. I set my suitcase down in the guest room and quietly placed the veil box on the dresser. Then I wrapped the gifts I had carried across the country, carefully chosen items, each one wrapped with my own hands. The first day passed in a flurry of activity. Rehearsal dinners, phone calls, small errands. I stayed helpful, but also quiet, letting the younger ones take the lead. I reminded myself, this is Daniel's time. My role is to support, not to direct. But as the days moved along, a small ache started to settle in me. No one asked about the veil. No one asked about the gifts. The box sat untouched in the guest room, and I found myself brushing my fingers across its lid in the evenings, as though reminding myself it was still there. On the morning of the wedding, I dressed early. The house was alive with hurried steps, curling irons, and the smell of coffee. I carried the veil box downstairs, holding it close. Daniel's fiancée, Emily, stood in the living room, radiant in her gown, her friends around her adjusting small details. I stepped forward, my voice gentle but certain. "Emily," I said softly, "I brought something for you. It's the veil from my family. It's been worn for generations. I'd love for you to have it, if you'd like." She turned, her eyes widening. Her friends fell silent for a moment, waiting. Emily smiled politely, a small crease in her brow. "Oh, that's so kind," she said. "But I already have my veil picked out. It matches my dress." The words were not unkind, but they landed heavily. My arms felt stiff holding the box. Around me, the room quickly filled again with chatter, curling irons buzzing, laughter spilling into corners. I nodded, forcing my smile to stay. "Of course," I whispered. "Of course, dear." I carried the veil back upstairs, placing it carefully inside my suitcase this time. It felt heavier than before. At the ceremony, I sat in my place near the front, watching as Daniel and Emily exchanged vows. They looked beautiful, truly beautiful, and I told myself that this moment, was what mattered. Love standing at the altar, promises spoken under the warm light of the afternoon. I wiped away my tears quietly. Still, the ache was there. I had carried the veil across the country, held it on my lap during the flight, dreamed of the moment it would be lifted gently over Emily's face. But instead, it stayed folded away in darkness. The reception was loud, filled with music and laughter. I gave the gifts I had brought, each one received with quick thanks, tucked away with the others in a growing pile. I smiled, joined the dancing for a while, and clapped when Daniel spun Emily around the dance floor. Later that evening, when the crowd thinned and the music softened, Daniel came over and sat beside me. His tie was loosened, his face glowing with happiness but touched with fatigue. "Mom," he said, his voice lower now, not hurried. I know about the veil. Emily told me. I wanted to thank you. Really. I know it means so much. I looked at him, searching his face. It's all right, I said softly. She chose her own. That's how it should be. Daniel shook his head. I still want you to know. It mattered that you brought it. It mattered that you thought of us that way. One day, maybe, if Emily and I have a daughter, maybe she'll wear it. And she'll know it came from you. The words settled into me like a warm light spreading through a cold room. I realized then that heirlooms are not just about being worn in a single ceremony. They are about being carried, preserved, offered with love. The veil was still part of our family's story, even if it stayed folded in its box that day. I reached out, brushing a piece of hair from Daniel's forehead like I used to when he was little. That's all I needed to hear, I whispered. The night wound down. Guests drifted away, the music quieted, and Daniel and Emily left in a swirl of sparklers and laughter. I walked back to the guest room, tired but calm. I opened my suitcase one more time, touched the veil gently, and smiled. It was not worn that day, but it was carried. It was present, and perhaps, someday, in another ceremony, it would find its place again. For now, it was enough that it had come with me, across the sky, across the years, tied to love that stretched from generation to generation. I lay down that night with peace in my heart, knowing I had given what I could. My presence, my gifts, my history, and above all, my love. That was the real heirloom I carried, the one that never needed a box.